Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next installment of the Road to Pandora series. This is the fourth part. Could possibly be the final part. You never know with everyone's schedules coming down with Volcano Bay and Pandora actually opening. We should be able to maybe get some more people on to talk about Pandora. But with me tonight, I have Barry from Thrillgeek.
Hey, how's it going?
It's been a long day. It's been a day. I wish I was down in Orlando right now because there's a lot going on that I want to see, but I can't be. So I have to live vicariously through everyone else that's down there.
Well, there is definitely a lot going on here right now, and between Pandora, Volcano Bay, Happily Ever After debuting, it's been a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. So tonight isn't really much about Volcano Bay and all that stuff. It's about Pandora, World of Avatar. And when was your first? When was your first experience with Pandora, and how many times have you been since your first experience?
I've been twice. I went to the annual pass holder previews last Sunday night, and then we were also able to go to the Disney Parks blog event the following morning. So I've had basically back-to-back experiences with Pandora, the World of Avatar, and one that was in the evening and got to see some of the bioluminescence. They didn't turn it on, all of it on.
Yeah.
I guess they're trying to hold back. And then got to see what it was like to see sunrise, basically, in Pandora. And it was two very unique experiences.
So before we start talking about like the rides and all that stuff, what did you first think of when you walked into Pandora for the first time?
It's definitely an experience walking into the first time. I don't know if it's more of a subtle thing as you walk in, because you walk across the bridge in Animal Kingdom obviously there's two different entrances. There'll be one from Africa and then one next to Tiffin's. But for the previews, they're bringing everybody in through next to Tiffin's, and you're basically walking across the bridge. And as you walk across the bridge, things change. The light posts are different. You all of a sudden see the vegetation is different, and the first thing you really see is the big, and I can't remember the name off of it. How we have the big giant plant.
Yeah.
That you can actually interact with. That is, supposedly be the plant that allows us to breathe on Pandora, whereas before, like normally the air is toxic to human beings.
Yeah, that's something that I thought was very cool that they added in that aspect.
I mean, and the story is that as you cross the bridge, you cross the light years into Pandora. My only thing is, I almost wish there was a tunnel, maybe, with some sort of effect that might have given it a little bit more of a wow moment. Because really, it's more of a subtle. Because as you cross the bridge and you go past that first giant plant, then you really, as you're sort of going up a hill, then you see the floating mountains and the other stuff starts coming into view, and it is pretty jaw-dropping.
Yeah.
I mean, that it's the level of detail that went into that is just amazing. And it really, you have two different aspects. I mean, the first time we saw it as the sun was going down. So the sun actually sets behind Pandora. So you've got the sun, sort of shooting towards you, and so it creates a nice effect. And then the second time we caught, the sun rises straight on Pandora, so it's hitting the mountains, and you know, it's going to look really cool in the morning and really cool as the sun sets at night. So I mean, there's so much to look at just walking into Pandora.
Yeah. When you saw the floating mountains for the first time, of course, everyone's been saying like they've been in awe of how massive they are. Was that your same exact thought?
I was definitely in awe of how massive they are, and really what is as jaw dropping as it looks. To me, the real awe-inspiring moment is when you walk underneath them.
Really?
And for someone like me who really is a theme park junkie, and sort of, I mean, I sort of understand how they did it. I mean, it's still a pretty jaw-dropping engineering feat that they did, because I mean, it's not just like it's a couple of mountains that are made to look like they're floating. I mean, it's just there's one that's really hanging out there from the other ones, and it's just when you're walking under it, that's to me even more so is really jaw dropping. I mean, that you can't believe how they designed this to look the way it does. And I mean, obviously, when you first walk in, it's definitely more awe-inspiring because you're getting the full aspect of the force perspective. And and when you angles, yeah, especially the smaller mountains, it doesn't look as impressive. But that initial wow moment when you walk in it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Now moving on, we're gonna. Is there any final thoughts you want to say about just the land in general, like the atmosphere of it? What do you think?
I think one of the neatest things I thought to me was the fact that when you're in the area where the canteen is and where the merchandise shop is, the aspects of the base that used to be there, the and what's left of it, it's just really neat that you can see where like the base used to be and how it's been destroyed, or the vegetation has taken over. And it just the detail they went into that alone, I mean, the vegetation and all is amazing, and the way they blended the vegetation in with real live vegetation is very seamless. But the aspects of the parts that were originally there for that human beings had built to exploit Pandora, and how it's sort of a lot of it was destroyed, and it's really neat how they blended everything in. It's just and it's stuff that you probably wouldn't even, I don't think the average person would even thought of doing.
Yeah.
It's just it's almost like everything was thought out, everything was thought of when they built this place. It's just the detail, the level of detail is really unlike anything I've seen Disney do before.
Whenever I asked Banks, I said, what would you compare this to? And he immediately jumped on the opportunity and said, there's nothing I could compare this to. There's nothing in the theme park world that I can compare this to. And with you being a theme park fanatic as much as you are, would you say that is true?
I would say that's totally true, because it's Harry Potter is totally different from this, because you're recreating something that's less organic. It's you're recreating buildings and a place in Harry Potter. Here you're creating a place, but you're creating almost like an environment, and it's really nothing like I don't think we've ever seen before at a theme park. And it even makes me wonder, you know, how Star Wars, I don't even know if, you know, as much as I love Star Wars, I don't even know if Star Wars Land is going to look as impressive as this place.
Really?
Because but that part of it is because Star Wars is a completely different environment.
Yeah.
You know, Pandora is supposed to be lush and beautiful and also otherworldly, and where Star Wars is, you know, I think it's I already, I mean, as far as I know, it's going to be, you know, crossing my fingers that it's going to be impressive, but I don't know if it's, besides the nostalgia feel for especially Star Wars fans, I'll be interested to see if it has the same sort of wow as you walk into Star Wars Land. So, but I think that, yeah, there's really nothing that you can compare Pandora to in the theme park world.
Well, that's very, very good to hear. So moving on from your first impressions of the entire land, let's dive deeper into like the specifics of it, and let's start with merchandise.
Merchandise was better than I thought it was going to be. Obviously, being someone who's not like a fan of Avatar, I was impressed with the amount of different kinds of merchandise, and there was actually a few things there that I would actually buy, which, you know, I'm being someone who goes to theme parks all the time, and you know, I'm very picky about the stuff I would ever buy.
Yeah.
And there was actually a couple of T-shirts I would buy. I was impressed how many people bought those Banshee
puppets.
The Banshee puppets. I mean, especially at $50 a pop, I was really impressed. I was really amazed how many people bought those. They are neat looking, and I mean, it's I think Disney definitely is going to have a hit with that. You know, some of the other merchandise, I have a feeling a few months from now may end up in the outlet. But I mean, that's where it pretty much with anything. Because, you know, as popular as Star Wars is, there's plenty of Star Wars stuff in the Disney outlet stores around here.
Yes.
So I mean, there's some things that are very odd. I mean, the tails, you know, there's some things that I looked at and I was just like, I couldn't believe that they made this. But overall, I mean, I thought it was pretty impressive, and always is very good in the beginning with a wide range of merchandise.
Yeah.
We'll see if that continues, obviously depending on how certain stuff sells. You know, so it's there was a pass holder T-shirt. It wasn't something I would buy, but that's just me.
Yeah.
But there were definitely two different shirts that I definitely plan on buying at some point here. So it was a good different kinds of merchandise, including there's a lot of cutesy stuff for kids, and that it will actually, and there's a couple of cutesy things my fiance actually wants. So it's definitely a lot of different merchandise, and I was definitely sort of surprised and impressed with some of it, and actually, you know, it was actually appealing to me.
I was gonna ask something, but I completely forgot. But what's the most ridiculous thing you saw in the store? I bet I know the answer.
Beside the tails, I'm trying to think that there was some stuff that was just hideous, that was just so ugly that I would never wear. You know, I was some of the high end stuff. I was like, I mean, there was a couple of lamps, and you know, it's just the tails. There was a whole section of like tails and a bunch of glow in the dark stuff that that, you know, we'll see how well any of that stuff sells, because it was borderline cheesy. So.
All right. So, is there any final things you want to say about the merchandise? Did you guys get to see that whole create your own Navi figure thing?
They weren't doing it when we were there. I mean, I saw the whole setup for it, and I'm sure, like many of us thought, I'm that you're going to be able to get your own Star Wars action figure when Star Wars Land opens. And they're probably going to charge more than $75 for it when Star Wars Land opens.
Oh, obviously.
So, and I'll probably be one of those people who will pay that kind of money for that. So,
I'm probably,
but
I'm probably gonna pay that much for
definitely
the Navi figure, just because it's a cool thing to like have as a backdrop. But I will definitely buy one for Avatar for Star Wars when it comes out.
Yeah. So it's like, I think, you know, I liked all the different kinds of merchandise, and like I said, we'll see if they keep up that diverse kind of merchandise, which compared, you know, that's been one of Harry Potter, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter's really strong points, is the diverse amount of merchandise, and you know, there's always something you can find that you like, and I'll be interested to see what the general public's reaction will be to the merchandise, because that really, to me, is, I mean, I don't want to get ahead, but that's, to me, is the biggest thing with Avatar, with Avatar Land, is what will be the general public's reaction to the place.
Yeah, and we'll find that out on what, Saturday?
Pretty much.
I am very excited to see people's reaction to Volcano Bay. That's gonna be
yeah.
But
that one's gonna be interesting too, and I will actually be there Wednesday.
Will you?
Not for my other real job. So I'm gonna be interested to see. You know, I'll be there Wednesday and Thursday for the opening, and to see what the reaction's going to be, and also to be able to actually set foot in the park and see how much is still left to be done, because it's, you know, there's been some sayings that there's going to be a few things that are not ready.
Yeah.
Come Thursday.
Which is sad. Which is very sad. I want everything. I like competition, but when something is being when something isn't finished, but it's trying to be competed with something that's totally like finished, they should count their losses, and they should just push it back. That's where I'm at. I'm at the point where they're not going to beat Pandora, and they should just push it back. Don't rush something that you don't want it to end up being bad.
No, and you cannot. It's hard to turn first impressions, and
yeah,
you know, I have not heard, you know, how well this past Saturday was really the first test of the park, and I haven't really heard it, you know, from anyone how good or bad things went that day. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting and to see because it's very obvious the Pandora's, you know, from everyone I've talked to, it's been done. You know, it could have opened 2 months ago if they wanted to. They've just been tweaking, you know, and they've obviously, you know, having people in there has already you know, revealed a few issues that I don't know if they had fully realized that they had. So
yeah,
but that's the whole point of previews. So, you know, Volcano Bay is not really getting that. So we'll see how things go with that.
Yep. And moving on from that little Volcano Bay tangent, which I don't mind having, I really don't. Let's talk about the food, because that's the part I'm most interested in. I love eating food at theme parks because it's a different, like, most of the time it could be a different type of food. Like whenever I went to eat at Leaky Cauldron, I was like, this food is completely different than what I usually eat at home. It's actually very good. So I'm very excited to see what Pandora has to offer whenever I go in October. But what did you get to experience?
I got to experience both dinner and breakfast there, and I will preface that I did that as part of the Disney Parks blog event. We all got free breakfast, so didn't have to pay for breakfast. But I'll start with dinner first. We basically got bowl, which is really one of the main options for dinner. And then got the chocolate cake and tried the Pandora Sunrise drink, which is I guess is the non-alcoholic special drink for Pandora. I will, based on the dinner alone, that restaurant is one of, to me, and my fiance was also with me, one of the best quick service restaurants at Disney World.
That's what I've been hearing.
The food was far superior than I would probably, for me, and as far as quick service restaurants in the parks, I would give was it Sunshine or Seasons, the food court in the Land, an edge, and that's mainly because just you have more options there. But for it's definitely definitely considered, to me, just based on the two experiences, I think it's now one of the top quick service restaurants in Disney World as far as the 4 parks go. The protein bowl was great, and we just had it with chicken, and I think chicken. I think it was the sweetened red potatoes and then like a chimichurri sauce, and it was excellent. Tasted great, very tasty, had a good flavor to it. The chocolate cake was, even though I have a hard time calling it chocolate cake, it's almost like a mousse and a cake with a cake part to it too.
Yeah.
But it was very good. Way better than a lot of the desserts at most of the quick service restaurants at Disney World. And then the Pandora Sunrise I didn't feel it was too sweet. It was tasty. You could definitely taste some of the Powerade in it. But overall, it was a good drink. Unfortunately, we didn't get the chance to try any of the alcoholic drinks. And obviously, nothing's ever going to beat butterbeer. I mean, everyone else can try their own unique drinks, but nothing's as good as butterbeer.
Nothing as butterbeer ever.
And then I had the breakfast the next morning, and I had the French toast, which came with I think it was like blueberry cream cheese.
Yeah.
And then I think it's like a passion fruit sauce or something. It was really good. It was very good. Had the Pandora Sunrise again. I probably will drink that whenever I eat there. And it's definitely, I mean, if we're in Animal Kingdom and we're going to have to eat, it's probably going to be our go-to from now on.
What was your go-to before?
Either Flame Tree or the quick service Yak and Yeti window. I don't do a lot of sit-down restaurants at Disney World. Number one, because of the price, and I have done Tiffin's, and Tiffin's was amazing. But don't do a lot of sit downs. And also, I live 10 minutes from the park, so it's like.
So if you're gonna eat, you literally could go to the park for like a couple hours and then go home and then go back out if you wanted to.
Yeah, pretty much, and that's being an annual pass holder, on average when we go to the parks, it's only for like 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
It's only when people are in town do we stay like a long day in the parks. But no, it will definitely be. I think we both agreed that if we were going to eat in the animal kingdom, we're probably going to eat there, and even better, we can use the mobile ordering on the app and be able to just pick up our food.
Yeah, that's going to be great, and I hope that they roll it out to all the other parks, because that's something that I want to do. Like, I want to be able to, I wish I could be in like Adventureland and then like put in that I want this at Cosmic Rays, and then walk up to the window, say, here you go, and then they give me my ticket.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a definitely a good thing, because it's. If you have the option to do that, then it's hopefully it works really well, and they'll start rolling it out to other places.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely. I feel that's that restaurant, and I would say also too. I mean, I'm sure you've seen some of the pictures. It's definitely one of the nicest looking quick service restaurants.
Oh yeah.
The indoor dining area is not super huge, so I'll be interested to see how well it handles the crowds. But the Animal Kingdom really needed another quick service restaurant, and a good one. So I think I think it'll definitely help. So
I in my opinion, with now it's the Thule Canteen and with Yak and Yeti and Tiffin's as your two big sit-down restaurants. Then you have all the stuff in Harambe, like the Harambe Marketplace. Then you have Flame Tree, and then your two restaurants, Restaurantosaurus and Pizza Safari. I think that's a very solid lineup of food.
Oh no, it's definitely. I would say it's definitely better than the Magic Kingdom's lineup of food.
Yeah, Magic Kingdom's lineup is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not to go off on that tangent. That you could talk a whole podcast about the lack of good quick service food in the Magic Kingdom. So
yeah, the only place that I eat at Magic Kingdom is I will go to lunch for Be Our Guest, and then I will grab chicken tenders from Cosmic Rays and sit and watch fireworks. That's what I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's because everything else is terrible. Quality is so bad there.
Yeah.
But moving on from food, did you guys get to experience Pongu Pongu at all?
No, I didn't. Besides, looking at the menu and stuff, I didn't get a chance to try the either none of the alcoholic drinks, or I guess it was the roll that's there.
Yeah.
So it just it was due to lack of time. Because we were in the last group for the annual pass holder preview that day, and then it was the morning for the next thing, and I don't even think it was open for our the Parks blog preview.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well,
did not get a chance to experience that yet, but definitely looking forward to trying those drinks.
Yeah, I heard the
in the future
margarita is like the best thing on earth. So yeah,
it definitely had a constant line the entire time we were there for the previews. So
that's good. I'm glad that I'm glad that that's succeeding, because that's the one thing I was worried about was they said, oh, we're only going to have one quick service place and then we're going to have a bar. I'm like, okay, this is an area for adults. Yeah, it's an adult kind of themed movie. Um, but I don't know if you can get the Pandorian sunrise there.
I can't remember off the top. I don't. I think the sunrise may be exclusive to the canteen, because the weird thing is you can get the 2 beers at the canteen.
Yeah.
But you can't get the other 2 drinks at the canteen. Which, I mean, I sort of understand that, but that it also sort of annoys me.
Yeah.
It's like, if I want to have, the specialty alcoholic drink with my dinner, then why can't I just buy it at the canteen?
Exactly. Like, you should be able to get everything everywhere in that land, because those are the only places that you should be able to get like a Mora or margarita or something like that. Because it's
and we'll see what happens once they're open to the general public, and that's gonna we'll see if they change that up, because I'll be interested to see once the general public can go in there, maybe how bad the lines maybe get at Pongu Pongu, and maybe maybe they'll change it up. We'll say.
Yeah. Well, do you have any final thoughts about the food?
Just it's a good addition, and I think as long as the quality that we experienced during the previews holds up, it really jumps to me as one of the top quick service locations in the 4 parks of Walt Disney World.
All right. With that, we're going to move on to the attractions, and we're going to start with the Navi River Journey. So I'm gonna let you talk about whatever you want to talk about with this ride, and then we'll go on to Flight of Passage.
Navi River Journey, to me was definitely a surprise. It is short, but it is very, I guess, the lack of a better term, it's very beautiful. I mean, it's the bioluminescence, and just going through the Pandoran rainforest is very impressive. Very impressive use of screens. Like, I would almost say better than anybody's done, because they have, I'm guessing they used multiple screens to create the illusion of depth.
Yeah.
And it works. It's very impressive. I would say the only unimpressive thing is the Navi warrior that you see as you start the ride, because he doesn't look very 3-dimensional, but and because he's completely a projection. But who knows if they're tweaking that? But obviously, the star of the ride is the shaman animatronic, which is, I'm sure, I'm going to say the same thing everyone else has said. It's the most impressive animatronic I've ever seen. It looks like a living, breathing person. It doesn't. It's very impressive. From the movements to, and just the language, the speaking, the mouth, the facial muscles. It's on a level that we really haven't seen before. And I don't know if it's because, since it's an alien, the human eye is more easily tricked than when it's a human figure. It's definitely the most impressive animatronic I've ever seen. The ride is short, but I mean, it gives Animal Kingdom something it really needed, which was a dark ride. And it's something that pretty much almost everybody can do, which is another important thing. That Animal Kingdom,
no height restriction or height requirement. I love it.
Nah,
like
it's because
like a
it's
3-month-old can do that.
Yeah, no, it's a ride everyone can ride. Which I mean is outside of Hogwarts Express. It's something that both Harry Potter lands lack. So it's something everyone can do, and it gets you out of the heat for a little while. And the queue, even though most of the queue is pretty much the entire queue is outside. Most of it is covered. It's impressive. It's very pretty. But like I said, I think it's just a very nice short boat ride with the most impressive animatronic figure I've ever seen.
It's good to know. That's a very good summary of that ride, because Banks and I went on, not a bad thing at all, but I think we went and talked like 15 minutes or like 20 minutes on River Journey, because he was like explaining in depth, which is a good thing, and short summaries are good too, but like I think the way that you explained it is the best way to explain it to just like a regular person that would go there. They're like, oh, what is this? You explain them that way, and then they're sold.
Yeah.
Like that's the easiest way to put it. Put it to where it's a dark ride that Animal Kingdom's needed, because the only other dark ride that they have is Dinosaur, and not everybody can ride that.
Yeah.
Well, you have Tough to Be a Bug, but that's just a 3D screen.
Yeah, and it's a 3D one that scares the crap out of a lot of children.
Exactly. I remember whenever I was little, this is a story I've never told before. Whenever I was little, I went on that for the first time. I was sitting next to my uncle, and whenever they poked the back with the stingers, I jumped into my uncle's lap. Literally jumped out of my seat into my uncle's lap.
Yeah.
So like ever since, I know exactly when you get poked and all that stuff, and I move forward. And whenever they do the whole motion with the bugs at the end of the attraction, I either stand up or I kneel on the floor. Because I don't like.
Yeah, no, that attraction scared the crap out of my little sister, and nearly ruined her on 3D movies.
Really? So. Wow, that's crazy.
But no, it's something that Animal Kingdom has needed, and I still think they need a couple more. Why they never built a Jungle Book ride or a Lion King ride is beyond me. But it's definitely a step in the right direction for Animal Kingdom.
I always thought take out Rafiki's Planet Watch and put in Zootopia. I'm just saying, it needs to happen, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I that would definitely be a smart idea now.
With how much Zootopia is made, you have Frozen, you're building Moana probably somewhere. We just don't know it yet. You got to capitalize on these big IPs that are like making big money, like Zootopia. Zootopia won an Oscar, like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So moving on from the Navi River journey, let's move on to the big e-ticket attraction, Flight of Passage.
What else is there to say that I'm sure other people haven't said? For me, at least, it's the best simulator ride I've ever been on. The best 3D I've ever seen on a simulator ride. it's got, to me, the standby queue is the best in Orlando. The level of detail is just insane. And boy, it's long.
I heard that it can fit up to a 6-hour long wait.
That is what I've been told, and I would not wait through that 6 hours, but we'll see come Saturday, because I mean, you know, there's 4 theaters basically, and you know, we'll see how the capacity ends up being on that ride. Yeah, on that ride, because it's as high as a lot of people were expecting it to be. So, and they were definitely still working out a few kinks when during the previews, because there was definitely, my first ride, there was an issue with one of the sensors. You know, if it, I guess if it senses anything outside of vehicles, it can trigger the sensor.
Yeah.
So it's my fiance was wearing a dress, and she had to tuck her dress in.
Wow.
Because apparently that was setting off one of the sensors. So, you know, they're obviously still, you know, working through the issues. And then of course there's been the issues with some people not being able to fit the ride. And so we'll see how that all goes once it's open to the general public. But the ride itself is really, it's pretty impressive. And you know, the 2 times I got to ride it, I wasn't even sitting in the best seats. I was sitting on, you know, the outside of the screen, you know, both times, and it was still massively impressive. And you know, it didn't, unless you look, it doesn't even dawn on you that there's 3 levels of you know, of ride vehicles. I mean, because when you're looking at the screen, it's just, it envelops you completely. And you know, it's, unless you go to start looking around, will you notice that, you know, oh, like, you know, the 3rd time I rode, it's like, oh, we're on the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
And it's definitely and then the ride film itself is just, I don't think I've ever seen anything that's the quality of the film, of the CGI is pretty much beyond any other simulator out there.
Okay, so this is totally unrelated to Pandora, but you'll appreciate this. So, Don Helbig, the PR guy for Kings Island, tweeted out about the Nashville Predators, right?
Yeah.
And he said the Nashville Predators are 20 minutes away from their first Stanley Cup final. And I said, if the Preds win, can I get a follow? And then I said, LOL, I'm just kidding. Love your park, though. And then 20 minutes later, I get a follow. So that's hysterical.
That's cool.
All right. Sorry for interrupting. I knew you would.
No problem.
That. So continue about Flight of Passage, please.
It's definitely, it's the ride film itself. Like I said, the quality of the CGI is like light years beyond any other simulator ride I've ever experienced. I mean, it's just the system they're using for the projection is just, it's so clear. It's breathtaking. And then the wind effect and the mist, and it just, it really feels like you are flying through this world. It's that impressive. And the irony is, actually, after getting off and being sort of blown away, it made me even more excited for Star Wars Land.
Did it?
Because I was thinking, if they did this with this, it's like, then I mean, how how amazing is Star Wars Land going to be?
Yeah.
So.
Well, don't we know that the 2 rides for Star Wars Land is going to be Pilot the Millennium Falcon and Resistance Dark Ride, right?
Yeah, it's Pilot the Millennium Falcon, and yeah, it's sort of I guess it's been nicknamed the Star Wars Battle Ride because it's going to put you right in the middle of a battle.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, the same creative team who did Pirate Shanghai is doing the Battle Ride.
Ooh.
So they've taken and one of my friends who is an Imagineer worked on Pirate Shanghai, and you know, he can't talk about it, but basically everything they learned in Pirate Shanghai, they're taking to the next level in the Star Wars Battle Ride. And he said, basically, if they pull off everything that they plan on doing, it's going to be the most impressive modern Disney ride anyone's ever seen.
Insane.
And then then you know, in the Millennium Falcon ride, you know, as much as this was, I think some of us have almost said this isn't Soarin' 2.0. This is like Soarin' 3.0.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost they jumped another generation. The Millennium Falcon ride, I think, is going to be even above that because you know, at least what they've said so far is you're really going to be piloting the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be, and your actions are going to matter in that what your crew does when you pilot the Millennium Falcon. And, you know, things could go out really well or things could go really bad. And that would be, to me, the next step in the theme park simulator experience is actually having your actions affect what's going on. Because, I mean, you know, every other thing, it's been a simulator. You know, even Mission Space, they, you know, make it look like you're doing something when you're really not doing anything.
Yeah.
So, you know, if they pull off what they've said they're going to pull off with the Millennium Falcon ride, that's, to me, is going to be the next, you know, step. And when it comes to the simulator experiences, that your actions are actually affecting what's happening in front of you in the ride itself. So, you know, that's, you'll fully go from it not being a passive experience at all. You're actually rolling the ride and going to affect what happens. So we'll see if they pull that off. But as far as where we are right now, Flight of Passage to me is the best simulator, and really has, for me, is now one of the top rides at Walt Disney World.
Now,
not my favorite ride, but it's definitely one of the top rides at Walt Disney World.
Now, before Flight of Passage, what was your favorite ride, or what was the top ride in your opinion?
As far as simulators, or I mean,
overall,
my favorite ride at Walt Disney World is Twilight Zone Tower of Terror.
That's what's up.
You know, my all-time favorite is the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
But I mean, Twilight Zone Tower of Terror is my favorite ride attraction at Walt Disney World. This definitely, I mean, I've ridden it twice now, and it's definitely, I mean, I don't like to rank stuff because,
yeah.
But if you were to like to force me to come up with a top 5, it would definitely be in the top 5, possibly the top 3. But it's when it comes to simulators, it is just leaps and bounds of higher than anything else out there right now. They knocked it out of the park as far as I'm concerned.
Well, that's really good to know, because I was personally very nervous about riding it, just because I don't do well on Soarin', because I'm very tall, and I'm scared that I'm either going to kick someone, which I know is not going to happen, or my shoes are gonna fall off and fall into the IMAX bowl thingy. Or I'm gonna touch the railing if I'm on the bottom, or whenever I'm coming off of the station. So knowing and hearing what people have been saying about it, I don't think there's a way that I can injure anybody or myself on this ride with being very tall.
I mean, I'm 6'3". I had no problem fitting into the ride. You know, and I know people who have had issues with simulators, in some cases with motion sickness, and this is the first simulator they've ever experienced where they had no problems.
Really?
Yeah,
that's good.
So I do find that interesting. But I usually don't have problems with simulators, except for I won't ride Wild Arctic at SeaWorld. That thing makes me nauseous.
I've never, but I haven't been to SeaWorld since 2000 actually. And it's not because of Blackfish at all. It's nowhere close to that. It's just the military tickets are just too expensive. They give you like $10 off. That's it. And I'm like, ugh, I want it to be a little bit more, maybe like 30% discount. I'll be okay with that. Something better. All right.
But it's definitely, I mean, like I said, I can't wait to ride it again. And that's why I keep checking for a fast pass every day.
Trust me.
After midnight every night it's going to be one of those rides. It's going to, you know, now now Animal Kingdom has its Toy Story Mania and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and Frozen Ever After, the ride that's going to be a pain in the butt to get a fast pass for.
I know that for that entire week that I'm going to be there in October, a month before, I have to be constantly waking up, or not waking up, but not going to sleep until about 1 a.m. trying to get fast passes.
Yeah.
Like, even if I go there just to ride the ride and then leave. I just want to.
It's going to be. I think you'll be able to do the same thing that you know, people. I don't want to totally give the secret away, but basically get in line right before the park closes.
Really?
And then you'll I'll be get in line right before the park closes on a non extra magic hours night, obviously.
Yeah.
And then probably you'll only have to wait 30 or 40 minutes.
That's not too terrible.
Because that's the trick with certain other rides that you have a hard time getting a fast pass for. So
yeah.
But we don't like to tell people that. So
no, we don't. It's like the secret entrance at Universal. Everyone talks about it in every video I watch. I'm like, stop telling people.
Yeah.
Last time I went in March, I had to wait at that entrance. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I'll just say there's a certain icy ride at Epcot that we only waited 20 minutes for.
Icy ride, so Mission Space, right?
Yeah, that's what it was. So yeah, it's gonna be something that if you don't have a fast pass, you either get there right at park open, or you get in line for it like right at park, literally right when the park closes.
Yeah. So. Oh, well, I think we've hit the end. I have one more question for you, though.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that now with everything in Animal Kingdom, with Pandora, with Rivers of Light, do you think, or did you think before that Animal Kingdom could now be a full-day park?
I don't know about before. I mean, you know, the whole full-day park thing, it's always been depending on, like, what do you like? If you want to do everything, then yeah, it's a full day park. especially since, you know, adding Rivers of Light and adding the nighttime safari, you know, but I think this definitely, you know, really makes it a full day park, you know, and the fact that parts of Pandora is going to be a different experience in daylight as opposed to night. You know, and also, you know, if you're going to want to do all these rides, then yeah, it's going to take a whole day to do. And you know, and really, I mean, the harder you know, the harder thing to get into out of all these things is Rivers of Light. Because you know, you're gonna, if you want to see that, you're gonna have to tie up one of your fast passes.
Yeah, and that ties up
because
the entire day.
Yeah, which I mean, I guess, and I think that's why we haven't seen. I was sort of surprised that they didn't go to a tiering for Animal Kingdom like Hollywood Studios has, but they probably don't have to because of Rivers of Light, since that's going to tie up, you know, a certain amount of fast passes. People, you know, those people aren't going to get more than 3 fast passes in one day. So, you know, so it's almost going to make, you're almost, if you want to experience certain things, you know, you may, if you have a, you know, a park hopper ticket, you may have to come back to that park twice. So it's definitely, I would say it's definitely a full day experience now with Pandora. And we're going to see how well it does, because, you know, the park's, at least through, I guess, what, 4th of July week, the park's going to be open until 11 o'clock at night. And then
I think it's until July 4th. It's supposed to be open until 11, and then resort guests get in until 1.
Yeah, so we'll see how well it does. You know, I like all the nighttime offerings Animal Kingdom has now. The Awakenings, I know it's been mixed, but I like Rivers of Light. You know, and I like all the entertainment, the Discovery Island Carnival, and then all the entertainment they do in Harambe. It's all fun, and you know, it's in the nighttime safari. The funny thing is, I've been able to see, you know, every time I've done the nighttime safari, you know, the lions have been usually the highlight of the tour. The lions have been way more active than they ever are during the day. So, you know, it's the nighttime safaris have been, at least the ones I've experienced, have all been pretty good. So, I mean, there's plenty to do there now to keep you throughout the day. You know, so it's you know, between all the rides, the addition of Pandora, and then all the extra nighttime shows and entertainment, there's a lot to do in Animal Kingdom now. And you know, and the nice thing too with both rides in Pandora, they're indoors, you know, and they're air conditioned, which, you know, is, you know, always been one of Animal Kingdom's biggest issues is you know, the lack of attractions that are air conditioned. And and it because of the vegetation in that park, it is really the hottest park when it comes to summertime.
It was, I went in March, and 2 things. One, it was very, very, like, it wasn't hot at the other parks, but I got to Animal Kingdom, and just the amount of people that were there, and just the amount of overcrowding that there was in that little open, like that first area before they push you into the part with the Tree of Life. There were so many people. I'm like, okay, it's getting really hot. I feel very sick. But after the park let out into all the other portions, the only part that I felt really just like really sweaty, was Expedition Everest, actually. They didn't have any of the fans running inside.
Yeah.
They didn't have anything running. I'm like, guys, it's hot. Run something. So whenever we got up to a cast member, I was like, guys, it's really hot in there, and there's a lot of people. you guys turn on the fan or something? They're like, yeah, sure. And then whenever me and my mom went through again later on in the day, they had the fans running. So I'm like, I went in, the same cast members worked, and I said, thank you so much.
Yeah, no, I mean that park's always, had an issue with it just when it's hot, it's not the most friendly park.
Yeah.
Because it just even the most of the quick service restaurants weren't. I mean, all the seating for Flame Trees outside, and
Yeah.
it's and I mean, and then you combine it with the vegetation that's in that park. Yeah, it can get pretty hot in that park.
Yeah.
But a lot of Pandora. Like I said, the 2 rides are indoors, and it's definitely will definitely help get you out of the heat for a little bit. But yeah, I think it's really that park is it's really going to make that park a full day experience, and then we'll see. The biggest thing is come May 27th is how will the general public react? Because that's always been the question mark with Avatar is it doesn't have the fan base that a Star Wars or a Harry Potter or a lot of other things have, and a lot of us have felt that the land is going to live or die on how good it is, and I think most of us feel it's pretty impressive, and we'll see what the general public thinks, and we'll see if it boosts Animal Kingdom's attendance. So we will find all these things out starting next Saturday.
Yes, we will, and I'm very excited. All right, so
yeah,
where can we find you on social media?
I am at Thrillgeek on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.com/Thrillgeek. We have our Thrillgeek YouTube channel, and then of course, the website is thrillgeek.com, and we cover the latest in theme park and pop culture news. Our pop, Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, and the pop culture stuff is all the Star Wars, Marvel, anything Universal related, The Walking Dead. We try to be cover both things, not just theme parks, but also some pop culture. And so we're constantly at the parks, and we wouldn't do this if we didn't love it, because we sure aren't making money at it. But
yeah, that's the one thing that a lot of people, like, a big misconception of people is I would say 90% of the theme park community that reports either on YouTube or Twitter does not make any money.
No, there are very few that are very successful. There are a very small few who are very successful. Then right below them is people who are making money, but still working a regular job.
Yeah.
And then there's everyone else.
Yeah.
I mean, if you love this stuff, I would not ever go into doing something like this thinking that you're going to make money. If you end up making money, that's really great. I mean, I can say, the money we make, pays the bills. But we wouldn't do this if we didn't love it. And I joined Thrillgeek in the summer last year, and then due to circumstances, I've sort of been running it since January of this year, and it's like having a second full-time job, but it's something I love doing, and we'll see. It's been Thrillgeek's been around for almost 4.5 years now, and it's we slowly but surely, built a following, and especially, I mean, our Facebook's up to over 5,000 followers.
Yeah, I've been following you guys
Yeah.
for about, I would say, 3-4 years now. Basically, probably since the beginning.
The Twitter account doesn't have that many, but there's reasons for that. So, but we've got a lot of plans for later this year, and there's going to be a bunch of new things coming, and the guy who started it all will be coming back later this summer. So
very excited for everything moving forward with Thrillgeek. I really am. I've been fans of you guys for a long, long time.
Well, thank you, and it's we wouldn't do it if we didn't love it, and we love doing it, and I like to say, at least for me, it's like I'm already in the parks anyway, so it's like why not share what we're doing in the parks, and when we're getting ready to, we'll be actually heading towards your direction, because we're after Memorial Day, we'll be heading up to Ohio, and we're going to be hitting Cedar Point and Kings Island, and then we hit Kentucky Kingdom for a few hours, and then we're heading to Holiday World for Hollywood Nights.
Well, definitely tell me when you hit up Kentucky Kingdom, because I will, if I'm there, which I should be because I'm not doing anything until October. We can hang out and ride Storm Chaser.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. I haven't been back there in a while, so there's a few things new there that I have not read, and actually haven't been back to Ohio in 10 years. So
wow.
it's we're definitely looking forward to that trip, and yeah, I haven't been back to Ohio or Holiday World in 10 years. So we're definitely looking for that trip, and we'll be all over Twitter and Facebook documenting the trip, and then later at the end of the summer, we'll be heading out to California and going to Disneyland and probably Knott's Berry Farm and Universal Studios Hollywood.
Nice.
So got a couple of fun trips planned this year, and maybe we're hopefully going to throw in Dollywood in there at some point.
You have to. That park is so fun.
Yeah, I've been there during the summertime, and I've also been there during the Christmas stuff. And it's a great park, and it's a lot of fun. So definitely we're going to try to hit that up this year, and we usually make a trip. We'll make a trip at some point at Six Flags Over Georgia and Carowinds this year.
Yeah.
So, we'll be traveling around, hitting some other places, and outside of, we still got, after Volcano Bay and Pandora opening, we've got Mind Blower coming up soon at Fun Spot. And for me, being the coaster enthusiast that I am, that may be the one thing I'm looking forward to more than any of this other stuff. So
I'm if I was there in Orlando, I'd be right there with you. You would probably be number one in line for Mind Blower, and I'd be number two, because I'm more excited about that than Volcano Bay. Like,
oh no, I mean,
it's great.
I'm a Fun Spot annual pass holder, and myself, and along with a lot of people I know, we love White Lightning. We cannot wait for this, and if they pull off what they have planned to pull off with this thing, it is going, in corkscrew inversion aside, this thing is going to be a front seat airtime machine.
Oh yeah.
There's I think originally the video that they did, I think there was like 7 pops of airtime, and from what I've been told by the people at Fun Spot, that they had modified it since making that video, and I think there's going to be 9 pops of airtime.
That's ridiculous.
A front seat airtime in that compact layout. That ride, if they pull it off, it's going to be nuts. And
Storm Chaser doesn't even have that much, I don't think.
yeah, I know it's yeah. I mean, it's going to be, if I'm fingers crossed, because I never get you know, I try to go into every new ride with no level of, you know, excitement, because I don't want to get disappointed. But you know, fingers crossed that, you know, that thing's going to be amazing, and it's going to give that fun spot and give Old Town, which is, you know, completely revamping itself, a signature attraction.
Yeah.
And something that will draw people there. So you know, and I know I'm not the only one around here who maybe that may be the one thing we're looking forward to more than a lot of this other stuff. So it's nice to see, you know, to finally see Disney finally wake up and start you know, what's the beginning of a lot of building here.
Yes.
At Walt Disney World, and there's a few things that haven't started yet, but you know, fingers crossed, based on, you know, I'm sure rumors you've read and stuff, that hopefully will be here either in time for the 50th or right after the 50th, you know, around the time of the 50th, you know, because there's still possibly some other stuff coming that hasn't been announced yet. So got a lot to be excited for here in Orlando.
Yes, we do. And with that, I think that's the end of our show. I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your night to come on.
No problem.
And we will see you guys with the next either episode of this or the next episode of the Coaster Casters Travel. And we'll see you then.
All right. Thanks, man.